George?
No, I have nothing.
Mary?
Just wanted to say thanks to city staff for all the work they did over the weekend between the Jazz Festival and the Art Festival. And both of them were extremely well done, and the artists really appreciate listening to the jazz music on Saturday.
Makes it a lot more enjoyable.
It does, and I ran into two different groups of people that were there on Sunday, hoping that they could listen to jazz again. So,
No comments.
You know, I've got a couple of things. First, does everybody here know when the sign went up at Dunlawton and Taylor Road about CVS Pharmacy?
When did I see it?
I saw
About a week ago, I think.
Yeah, it went up Thursday. I started getting calls Thursday afternoon. How many drugstores do we need in Fort Orange? Seems to be the common
We have
question.
an awful lot of druggies in this town.
Apparently so, and I cannot believe that there's enough money to warrant another drugstore within a 1 mile stretch, and I measured it from the one at Taylor and Williamson to the one at Clyde Morris. It's right at a mile, and we've got two Walgreens and a CVS now that are in there. Not to mention Target
Publix.
and Publix.
You got 3 Walgreens.
yeah.
3.
Not in that one stretch.
Yeah, well, from Taylor, from the other side of 95 on down to Nova, you got 3 Walgreens.
No. I was saying just to the one at Clyde Morris.
Oh, okay.
You know,
But then
you
you've
go
got
on down the
Walmart
road,
also.
You've got another Walgreens and another CVS down the street. I've been amazed at the number of people that have noticed that sign, and oddly enough, have been much more concerned about the fact that there's a CVS there than the fact that all the trees are down. So it was. Like I said, I started getting calls Thursday.
They paid $4 million for the corner of Dunlawton and Nova without a building on it. $4 million for that dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what that building cost. What did that building go for? 2.5? Probably. Minus FF&E. That's an awful lot of drugs. And they got the money. Yep.
Yeah, apparently so. The other thing I had was I've had a couple of comments from folks about raccoons. It seems that there are some areas that are getting a lot more raccoons than they've had in the past, and I really did not have an answer for them as to what the city policy is now. Do we still provide traps? What happens? How are we handling that these days?
Okay, well, let me just go from the change in the state statute.
Yeah.
Okay, the first thing that kind of the program, if you take the raccoon and you take it out to the animal control, out to the shelter, then the city has to pay for it to be taken care of. Right. Okay, because you can no longer relocate it off the property.
But
So
you
that's
can
an
kill it
issue.
yourself.
Okay. Yeah, right. But there's been a slight change in the state statute.
You can't fire a gun to do that.
Right, but the discussion was, trying to keep the spread of any disease or anything out into other areas. Let me check on the trap issue, because the real issue there is the expense at the shelter.
Okay.
That's the expense.
Yeah, I just didn't have an answer. I knew that the state had changed some laws and that the shelter was involved somehow.
Yeah.
And I just thought we'd better ask the questions, because apparently there's some areas that are just seeing a huge influx of raccoons that they've never
Right.
seen before.
Yeah, and we're saying it's citywide.
You're seeing it, they're talking about feral cats becoming...
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
Well, I have to go up to the hospital on Dunlawton very early one day every week, and inevitably I see 10 or 15 right there at the entrance to the hospital there. I mean, they're just all over the place in there. And, we won't even talk about out by my place, but that's right downtown. I mean, that's a busy section.
Is it the same with armadillos? Same issue. You can't relocate them. We used to be able to pick them up and move them onto rural property and things like that. And there's some very specific rules related to that now. But let's...
you don't borrow my truck?
Okay. I will find out about all of it. I'll give you a complete background on that one.
Thank you.
What we can do.
That's it for me.
Good. Couple things real quick. As you all know, lost a good advocate in Blaine O'Neill. He's going to be extremely hard to replace, no question about that. And appreciate the outpouring of support for that young man. He's done an excellent job. It's sad. Couple things is I noticed some of the comments that come through the email. Ken's taking the heat for what we're trying to do in resolving pension issues, union issues, and budgets. And basically, although Ted doesn't think we do it, basically the directive of what is come from this council. It's our responsibility. So they got a complaint, they need to speak with us once in a while. We're available. Have any other comments? Ken?
Okay. Let me bring the council up to date on South Williamson. I know that's a topic of a lot of people. We have now received a preliminary date of completion somewhere near May 31st. Part of our staff says that it will be a month that begins in J. And so that could be June, July, or January.
It means you can't, as soon as you can't have oysters, that's when you can.
Okay. But that's the date they have given us now is, I think it's the end of May for completion of that particular road at work. Let me also bring to the council's attention, you saw an email that I pinned to Bob Elliott with CBL. There is some incorrect information on some signage. I did receive an email from Mr. Elliott today. They have removed the signs that were at the pavilion. It led people to believe that there was a 1% sales tax and that the school district would get $1.2 million of the sales tax and that the fire rescue department would get $157,000 annually. Florida is not a site-to-state as it relates to sales tax. And what that means is that sales tax collected at the pavilion is sent back to the state of Florida, and the city of Port Orange does not see the direct results of that retail establishment. We get its sales tax in Florida is distributed on a formula basis. So we get our share based upon the formula of all the sales tax revenue that is collected statewide. So that sign out there that talked about sales tax was not correct. The 1% facilities charge, or whatever they're calling it, it goes to the Community Development District, and it goes to retire the bonds as it relates to the infrastructure that CBO was required to pay, required to install. The requirement of to recover through gross sales is, as I understand it, and which I think they explained to the council, is through their lease process. So that's included in their leases with the people that are a part of that center. They have the option of direct pass-through, or as some of the businesses out there have done, they've absorbed that cost as a part of their cost of operation. So it's up to each individual business. But I thought it would be good to let the council be aware that they have withdrawn the signs and that they are working to get the signage that is correct, that explains exactly what the facility charge is. Okay.
That it?
That's it.
Good night.